I'm Marilee Caruso. It's Wednesday, July 30th. Today, disturbing data.
We need to identify where people are from, where they were last seen.
Why Manitoba may be acting as a feeder province for sex trafficking of missing Indigenous women. Also today, igniting anxiety.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
Thompson residents on edge as wildfires dance closer to the city. Plus, teeing up tradition.
I wonder in 100 years how many lost balls are represented on this course.
A Winnipeg golf course scores a major milestone. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Today, a troubling new report shows Manitoba has one of the highest rates of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada. And it found our province may be acting as a feeder province for sex trafficking. Here to explain is CTV's Taylor Brock. Taylor, what does this report mean when it describes Manitoba as a feeder province for sex trafficking?
Well, Marilee, this report examined the connection between MMIWG cases and sex advertisements on escort websites. And as you mentioned, Manitoba and in particular Winnipeg have among the highest rates of disappearances. We also have some of the lowest levels of sexual advertising of Indigenous women. Now, the disturbing implication here is that Indigenous women are being taken from our province at disproportionately high rates and trafficked to other parts of the country. The report analyzed 185 disappearances between 2010 and 2023. It found Winnipeg had the highest share at 14%. Out of all the provinces, Manitoba was in second place at 21% behind Alberta. Researchers also collected nearly 3,500 sex ads that claim to feature an Indigenous woman or girl over the past 9 years. They found well over half were posted in Ontario, 1/5 were posted in BC, and slightly less than 1/5 were posted in Alberta.
It's unfortunate that people have to leave their home community, be further at risk and vulnerable in urban areas, and they don't necessarily need to be leaving their community. If we had these services and supports available in community, and then what we would see is that our leadership would be able to protect their community members in a way that we currently can't.
The report was written by data and research company Thompson. It's worth noting the authors point out some cases of missing women may be unconnected to sex trafficking, and some Indigenous women featured in a sex ad may never have been considered missing. However, they say the evidence suggests there is still a strong link between the two factors.
So, Taylor, do they make any recommendations on how to address this issue?
Yes, they do, Marilee. First and foremost, they say the country needs a national database for all missing Indigenous people, which they say would speed up investigations. They also say authorities need to combine the data of missing Indigenous women and sex ads to better understand trends and hopefully make it easier to bring people home. And Marilee, we have a larger story on this up on our website. Head to ctvnewswinnipeg.ca to find out more about why our city tops the list for disappearances and why cities like Edmonton and Ottawa are hotspots for sex advertising.
All right, thanks for this, Taylor. Tensions are running high in Thompson as a trio of wildfires burn out of control near the city.
It's really been unsettling that this is really actually happening to us.
The city is being threatened by 3 fires to the north, collectively known as the Thompson Complex, the closest of which is approximately 14 kilometers north-northeast. Councillor Cathay Valentino tells us fire breaks are going up this week on the north end of the city and sprinklers are in place in various areas. Crews from Quebec have been helping out to put out hot spots. Valentino says the situation is taking a mental toll on everyone.
The amount of stress and decision making, it's very high anxiety, and it's high around the community because everybody feels that you may be evacuated, structures may burn. So yeah, it's been terrible.
The city has been under a state of local emergency since July 7th, and it says it intends to renew that order for another 30 days. A coalition of Manitoba environmental organizations says the wildfires and smoke they produce is a result of climate change. Dozens of people took to the steps of the Manitoba legislature today, calling on the government to do more to cut emissions and curb climate change. Climate Action Team Manitoba says the NDP government has not lived up to its campaign promises on climate action, abandoning its emissions targets and promoting fossil fuel expansion. The group says many fear this year's wildfire season is a sign of things to come.
All of us have been breathing in dangerous air from the smoke, and what feels especially heavy is that many of us worry this could be our future.
A campaign is encouraging concerned Manitobans to write Wabkanu a postcard. The group says it's already collected 500 postcards so far. You can find the postcard on the Climate Action Team Manitoba's website. Crime and public safety is a growing concern for Manitobans, according to an opinion poll done for the Manitoba government. The benchmark poll by Leger suggests affordability and health care remain the most pressing concerns. Crime was the third most cited worry among 69% of respondents. That number has steadily risen in 3 consecutive Leger polls. Going back to February 2023, half of the respondents said the number of immigrants coming to Manitoba is too high, while 25% said the number is just about right. The survey was commissioned by the province and obtained by the Canadian Press through a Freedom of Information Act request. 818 Manitobans responded to the survey in October. It cannot be assigned a margin of error, though, because online polls are not random samples of the population. The Bank of Canada has chosen to maintain the status quo on interest rates. Today's decision from the central bank holds the key interest rate at 2.75%. It follows strong job numbers in June and a slight uptick in the inflation rate. The Bank of Canada says although U.S. tariffs have created volatility in global trade, the global economy has been reasonably resilient. Meantime, one research group says most provinces are facing some fiscal challenges in the near term, but things will improve in the coming years. That's the latest assessment from the Conference Board of Canada, which predicts the situation will be much the same, if not better, here in Manitoba. Although the province is injecting historic amounts of money into healthcare and education spending, researchers say revenues will rise by a healthy 6.3% this year, stronger than most other provinces before leveling off. New spending is also predicting to slow over the next 4 years. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be without its starting quarterback when the team faces the Toronto Argonauts Friday. After a tough start, Zach Caleros sat out the second half of Saturday's game in Toronto. The team never said why. Winnipeg lost 31-17. It was the Bombers' third loss in a row. Now, Caleros didn't practice with the team today and is now listed on the injury report with a neck ailment. But head coach Mike O'Shea says the team's recent misfortunes rest on more than just the quarterback.
And I see an entire team, that has taken turns making mistakes. So I think the quarterback is, as they would say, is given too much credit for losses and wins, possibly.
It means Chris Streveler will likely get the start Friday. Kickoff, by the way, is 7:30. Meantime, the Winnipeg Jets announced a new 3-year deal with defenseman Dylan Sandberg. He will get $5.75 million per season. That's a bit of a raise for the Minnesotan. The restricted free agent was coming off a 2-year, $2.8 million contract. The 26-year-old set career highs last year with 6 goals and 20 points. The Jets selected Sandberg in the second round of the 2017 NHL draft. A Winnipeg golf course is marking a major milestone.
There it is. There it is.
Nice shot. Golfers have been driving, chipping, slicing, and losing balls at Windsor Park Golf Course for 100 years now. The course opened to the public all the way back on July 30th, 1925. The first ball that day was hit by Dr. Robert Fletcher, the park's board chairperson. And it didn't take long for the course to become a favorite. Even now, a century later, tee times are quickly booked up.
It's a place where people come to connect with nature, with neighbors, and with the joy of play.
And it's not just about golf. During the winter, the course is used for cross-country skiing. To mark its centennial, Windsor Park Golf Course is offering golfers the chance to tee off for the special rate of $19.25. All right, let's bring Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. Not a bad day to be out on the links.
No, but I couldn't help but notice you could still see that smoke hanging over the golf course, but not just the golf course, of course, most of Manitoba under that blanket of widespread smoke, northwestern Ontario as well. We will finally start to see some improvement here in the south, but that means smoke has to go somewhere else. So while it's good news for us, it won't be good news for others. Now I want to show you again, we still have all these areas, most of the province lighting up in purple under that air quality warning, also next door in northwestern Ontario, compounding the problem for folks up in the northwest, still contending with those wildfires. A heat warning is in effect for the Paw, Flin Flon and Lynn Lake areas. I'll have more details on that and how hot it's going to get here in Winnipeg for the long weekend. But let's take a look right now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. You can see that smoke just sitting there. Otherwise, the conditions would be sunny, 23 degrees, winds out of the west at 13 kilometers an hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is 36%. Out on the roads, out in front of Polo Park, Portage Avenue, east and westbound moving well there, but not far from there, there is a closure to let you know about. Eastway is closed. All eastbound lanes of Eastway between Empress Street to Empress Street East will be closed until Friday. That's August 1st for some building repairs there. So do use another route in that area if you can.
Incredible new research done right here in Manitoba. A robot nose that can smell an animal's DNA in the air and how it can help native species. That and more after the break.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Canadian Blood Services is making an urgent call for donations. People with O-negative blood are being asked to donate as soon as they can. Canadian Blood Services says demand has been high this summer and it needs more donors to maintain its supply. O-negative is the universal blood type found in only about 7% of Canadians. Every day, countless researchers around the globe are conducting experiments and bringing to life technological marvels once thought impossible. Some of that research is happening right here in Winnipeg's Assiniboine Park Zoo. For example, a little device developed by White Otter Biotech is designed to detect caribou through air samples. It's a new type of technology which analyzes environmental DNA, in this case caribou DNA, to tell if any of the animals are in the area. And the zoo is the ideal place to test the equipment since researchers already know ahead of time how many caribou there are and where they're located.
It's just a different method that could be used to detect these species. It's a little bit more non-invasive than typical methods because you don't actually have to see a caribou or a reindeer to be able to detect them with this method.
The hope is eventually the device will make it easier to support conservation efforts, particularly near mining or forestry. A couple of big names are slated for this year's Comic-Con Winnipeg Festival. The stars visiting Winnipeg and more local entertainment news next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Led Zepp again, the premier tribute.
Colleen Brady is back now for Spotlight, and the finishing touches are now underway for Folklorama.
That's right, and Folklorama is getting ready to welcome you to travel the world right in your own backyard. We got a sneak peek at what this year's festival will include. Among the 43 pavilions that will entertain over the 2 weeks, there's 2 brand new ones, Modern China and Mabuhay Philippine. Several others are celebrating milestones, including 50 years for Scotland, 25 for Tamil, and 20 for Celtic Ireland, or are returning after taking a break.
Proceeds, each pavilion from each pavilion goes back to that community so the next generation can appreciate, learn, and preserve the traditions, customs, and recipes that make up their beautiful culture. Thank you for the 54th Folklorama Festival returns this Sunday, August 3rd. It goes right through to the 16th. Children 12 and under are free. Now you can plan your tour by visiting Folklorama's website.
And a couple of big names we are learning are coming to Winnipeg.
That's right. It's all part of Winnipeg Comic-Con, a pop culture exhibition slated for October. Winnipeg Comic-Con started in 2019. Many people who attend dress up as their favorite sci-fi or fantasy characters. The event includes celebrity interviews and autograph sessions. This year features actor Lou Diamond Phillips, famous for his role in the movie La Bamba, among many other films and in television. Besides Phillips, it will be Ron Perlman who will be here, known for playing the title role in the Hellboy movies. The events take place October 24th to 26th at the RBC Convention Center. For tickets, visit comicconwinnipeg.com.
People in Flin Flon are getting ready to enjoy some blueberry jam.
Right, but we're not talking about the sweet condiment. It's a music festival. Blueberry Jam returns to Flin Flon August 8th to 10th. The three-day free community festival invites local and out-of-town performers to gather and share their music. It all started in 2018 and it's still going strong. There are 2 stages featuring jazz and acoustic. There's also on-site food and an artisan market. For more information, visit flinflonblueberryjam.ca.
Well, if you've ever thought about running away with the circus, now just might be the time.
I think about it every day, Marilee. Fun Under the Big Top is coming to Winnipeg. We just needed to give that big whale a bit of a push there, Marilee. Europa's Super Circus is a classic circus with a modern twist. The show offers an evening of mesmerizing lights and thrilling performances from all around the globe. Performances include tight wire acrobats, rides on the Wheel of Death, high-flying aerialists, and comedic clowns. Europa's Super Circus makes its Winnipeg debut August 21st to 31st. Visit supercircus.com for more information.
It does look super.
It does look fun.
All right, thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with MasterChef, followed by Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service at 8. Then it's Battle of the Generations and Match Game to wrap up the night at 10, only on CTV. A live look into Osborne Village on Osborne Street. Traffic busy, but moving very well in both directions there. I'll have more details about not just an air quality warning, but a heat warning that's now in effect in the province coming up.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon. CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Well, we still have smoke hanging over much of Manitoba tonight. That will start to change in the coming hours. And I want to emphasize start to change. It's not just going to clear entirely out of southern Manitoba too quickly. It's going to take a little bit of time, but the process should start to get underway in a few hours once the winds start to change. But until then, we still have an air quality warning that continues for Winnipeg, Brandon, Dauphin, all southern regions, all central areas, pushing up into parts of the north and east into northwestern Ontario. So the expectation is that surface ridge of high pressure I was talking about last night, it's still sort of gradually pushing off to the east. As it moves off, that's allowing winds in behind to shift, and really they're going to start to come more out of the southwest or the west, and that will start to slowly nudge that smoke out of southern Manitoba. The problem, though, is that it's expected to send that smoke back up into central and northern parts of the province that already have enough smoke of their own already. So good news for the south, not so good news for central and northern regions. In addition to that, those areas that have been contending with some of the worst wildfires will now be contending with heat hot enough to trigger heat warnings for places like Flin Flon, the Paw and Lynn Lake regions. We're going to be seeing heat building in from the west. That's going to bring temperatures up to at least 29 degrees for daytime highs and 16 degrees for warm overnight lows for the next 2 days before that heat breaks. Here's a quick look at the current temperatures. In Flin Flon there, 23 degrees. Back down here in the south, 23 also in Winnipeg and out in Brandon as well. So pretty consistent temperatures top to bottom today across the province. Were it not for the smoke, generally clear conditions for the most part across most areas in Manitoba into northwestern Ontario into tomorrow morning. So yes, aside from the smoke, there will be sun and temperatures will start to get a little bit warmer. That smoke gradually starting to move out of the south tomorrow throughout the day, and overnight we go into Friday. So it should be a lot less smoke here by the time we get to Friday. It will start to get even warmer too. But if you're heading out to the Bomber game, conditions look pretty good. For tonight though, sky conditions will be clearing, but it will still be smoky. 11 is the overnight low. Winds still light at 10 kilometers an hour for several hours yet. By tomorrow, the winds will shift. They'll come out of the west and start to push that smoke out of here. Mostly sunny, still more localized smoke expected with a high of 16 degrees. Quick look at the long-range forecast. Bomber game day up to 27 degrees during the day ahead of the game, of course. It will be sunny during the day and hot temperatures all throughout the August long weekend with sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Our first weather photo is from April. Now, she said she was out picking fireweed for jelly and for tea in a big stretch between Stead and Pine Falls, Manitoba, and took that lovely photo with that little bee there. If you can see in this next photo, very cute. Now, Alan found this rabbit in his yard, has a bit of an appetite too by the looks of it. That's in Crestview. Send us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. The motorcycle ride for Dad is hitting the highway to celebrate its 25th anniversary.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Wingham to Winnipeg.
Riders from Southern Ontario and the Yukon and Newfoundland handed over a flag to the Winnipeg chapter this morning. It's part of a flag relay which started in Kitchener-Waterloo and is making its way to each of the 25 chapters in Canada before it's done. While the riders normally spend the year talking to men about their prostate health, this event is a little different.
We know that for the most part, many women are involved with looking after their men's health. So this trip in particular, women are talking to women and we're pushing that you book an appointment, get them out there. It's just a blood test.
The Manitoba Motorcycle Ride for Dad delivers the flag to its next stop, Regina. Our local chapter, by the way, has completed its 17th ride, raising more than $5.7 million for the fight against prostate cancer. Good work.
Very phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Those men and women are doing out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll have some decent weather on their trip to Regina.
They sure will.
All right, that does it for us this hour, but don't go far. We'll be back at 6 with more local news.